Chapter 5 is about planning your program, and it's mostly centered around using literature to plan your program. The chapter is sort of divided out in looking at different goals for using literature according to the developmental age of the student, and it breaks it up into looking at 2, 3, and 4-year-olds, so toddlers and preschoolers, versus looking at primary grades. One thing when you're teaching younger students to keep in mind is that you're going to be looking at all of their areas of development, including social, emotional, physical, communicative, intellectual. In primary grades, you're still teaching to those areas, but you're not necessarily assessing those areas like you would be with younger children. You're more focused on looking just at the TEKS specifically. So this chapter talks about grouping texts, again, which was talked about in chapter 4. So I'm going to use texts that have been grouped to talk to you about the different social, emotional, cognitive, etc. areas of development, which, just so you know, that is whole child approach to teaching. So you're not just looking at the shoulders up, which would be cognitive or intellectual development. We're looking at the whole child, and you're selecting literature for your program that is going to speak to all of those areas of development. If you use these books that I have grouped together here with younger children, you could look at all of the areas of development. When you're using these books, which you could use to teach primary grade levels, you might be focusing on TEKS in a core subject area. So, for example, you might use these books to focus on a language arts TEK that is having students practice predicting, or having students look at a story from different perspectives. For example, in Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, Pigeon is the one begging to do the thing, and then in Pigeon Finds a Hot Dog, Pigeon is the one being begged by Duckling. So the students can see how it feels to be the beggar and the one begging from two different perspectives. There are different ways you can use these books, but those are some of the ways I'm going to show you today. Also, I want to point out that on the back of the front cover, I have put a sticky note, and I wrote Roles Reversed, Duckling Tries to Get His Way, Feelings and Emotions, and Predicting. So these are different things that I want to remind myself in the future that I might use this book for. I also put a sticky note here, and it simply says Stop to Make Prediction, because as the reader, sometimes you get lost in the book, right? And I want to be sure that I remember to stop here and have my students predict. So that is how I would use it with these books with older grade levels. If we were looking at using these books with toddlers or preschoolers, we might look at some of the different developmental domains that are listed in the pre-kindergarten guidelines. But the text also offers a few, so I'm going to read some of those to you before I get started. So for older grade levels, we've said we might look at making predictions or looking at things from different perspectives. You could still look at the facial expressions of Pigeon in these books because they are extremely telling. But with younger kids, you might look at, so for example, it says language development. Children will enjoy the creative and aesthetic use of language. For intellectual development, children will become skilled in a variety of thinking processes. Personality development, children will weigh evidence and make appropriate choices. Social and moral development, children will view a situation from more than one perspective. So again, you're using these books to teach. You could use them to teach younger children or older children. Just know that if it was for younger children, you would be looking at all of the areas of development and assessing those areas, including like social and emotional. Whereas if you're using these books to teach primary grade levels, you would want to focus on which TEKS you could pull from, probably from reading language arts, although literature can be used and should be used to support all of the core subject areas. What I used as an example here about learning to predict or looking at character development or facial expressions or the way the illustrator drew the characters in the book to portray their feelings and emotions, that would be more TEKS in upper grade levels. Okay, so the first book I want to read you is Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus by Willems. Here we go. Hi, I'm the bus driver. Listen, I gotta leave for a little while, so can you watch things for me until I get back? Thanks. Oh, and remember, don't let the pigeon drive the bus. for Cheryl. I thought he'd never leave. Hey, can I drive the bus? Please. I'll be careful. I'll tell you what. I'll just steer. Well, my cousin Herb drives the bus almost every day. True story. Vroom, vroom, vroomy, vroom, vroom. Pigeon at the wheel. No, I never get to do anything. Hey, I've got an idea. Let's play drive the bus. I'll go first. Come on, just once around the block. I'll be your best friend. How about I give you $5? What's the big deal? It's just a bus. No fair. I bet your mom would let me. I have dreams, you know. Fine. Let me drive the bus. Hey. So here I would ask my students to make a prediction. Do you think Pigeon is going to try to keep begging to drive the bus, or does Pigeon have a new idea? And if Pigeon has a new idea, what do you think that idea might be? From looking at the picture here, is this a picture of a bus? Let's turn the page and see what it's a picture of. So what do you think Pigeon is going to be up to? Maybe in the next book. Probably trying to drive that truck, right? Okay, so that's how you might use it for making predictions. So this is sort of a change of perspective where Pigeon is the one being begged to have something be done. So the pigeon finds a hot dog. Flap, flap, flap. Ooh, a hot dog. Yummy, yummy. Scooty, scoot, scoot. May I help you? Is that a hot dog? Not a hot dog. It's my hot dog. I have a question. I've never had a hot dog before, so what do they taste like? Well, they are a taste sensation. Each morsel is a joy, a celebration in a bun. If you've never experienced the splendor of a hot dog, you should really... Wait a second. This hot dog is mine. I found it. Of course. Enjoy. Go ahead. Would you say it tastes like chicken? Can you believe this guy? What? It just tastes like a hot dog, okay? Okay. So it doesn't taste like chicken then? Oh, for Pete's sake. Hey, I'm just a curious bird. That's it. It's my hot dog, right? Mine. I'm a curious bird. What do they taste like? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. This is unbelievable. Finders keepers is what I say. I can't take it anymore. What am I supposed to do? I think I've got an idea. So here I've marked it again. What do you think this little duckling's idea is going to be? Let's turn the page and see. You know, you're pretty smart for a duckling. Needs mustard. Okay, so these are both good books. So we've looked at grouping books or grouping text by a theme. You don't have to group just these two together. These books, if you were looking at making predictions, you could have another book by a different author be added to this grouping. These just happen to be same author. You could also, if you were looking at facial expressions or feelings and emotions, you could find other books that focus on those things as well. So here's just one example of a way to group books, how to use it, use books with younger children, and that, I just want you to be aware that if you're using books with 2, 3, and 4-year-olds, you'd probably be looking at different areas of development that would probably include social and emotional development more directly than you would if you were using books to teach primary grade levels, wherein you would be using the TEKS to plan and guide your lessons. So thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed The Pigeon Books by Mo Willems.